Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to use SSD for R in order to do statistical tests in which trending and or autocorrelation is problematic. So I'm just going to log into my RStudio Cloud account and we'll bring up what we have here. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is I'm going to get a file on a client named Anthony, who you haven't seen before. Anthony has a lot of anxiety, as evidenced by a bunch of obsessive compulsive disorder, obsessive compulsive behaviors in which he is constantly or frequently checking his appearance in the mirror and arranging things in his room or on his desk. So we have three variables in here, his checking behavior, his arranging behavior, and his anxiety. The checking and behavior are the number of times he checks in and arranges things in a designated hour. And his anxiety is on a self-anchoring scale that he comes to session with. It's a holistic measure of his anxiety for the week. So this is actually collected in session. So we have this here, and I just want to attach it. So for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to be looking at his anxiety. And the first thing we need to do when considering hypothesis testing is we have to determine whether there's a trend in either phase, and whether autocorrelation is problematic. So we're going to scroll down to where we were, making some decisions about what test of type 1 error to do. So we're going to first look at autocorrelation, and the behavior variable in this case is anxiety. Oops. And the phase behavioral is P anxiety. And we're going to first look at this for the A phase. Now I'm going to show you something here. I've never done this before, but it seems to make sense. We're going to minimize this for now. But actually what we can do is, what I'm thinking that we might want to do is when we're making decisions about statistical tests, we may want to think about the variable. So we'll say anxiety here. And we actually have to look at 4 different things. So let's just create a table where we can put that information. I'm going to make my table a little bit bigger. We'll make it a 3 by 3 table. And what we'll do here is put we'll put information about our A phase in those columns in the B, and then we'll put autocorrelation and trending here. And then we can save that and put information about that here as needed. So what I'm going to do, we'll see if this works, how this works, is we'll put this here. And this doesn't look real pretty, but it'll help us for now. Okay, so let's run this for, this is autocorrelation for the baseline phase. And here we actually see that the autocorrelation is high and it is significant. So we're going to say high, significant, which we know is a problem in this. We could actually stop here because it means that we're going to have to use the conservative dual criteria. But for purposes of demonstration, we're going to look at both phases, because it could have been that we could have had non-problematic autocorrelation in this phase, and we could have gone on. And we actually have the same with the intervention. If we notice the baseline points, the autocorrelation was going up, and now it's going down. We can note the same information here. I'm going to recommend that you do this in your own analysis, because it's going to help you really get a sense as to what's going on, and then you'll be able to make appropriate decisions and support those decisions for your final papers. And now I'm changing the variables here. I'm going to run this, and let's look at the baseline. This is the baseline because we have the A phase, and we see that we have a significant trend. We actually see that the trend reverses for this client. His anxiety is going up during the baseline. So really without intervention, now this is a scale, so it couldn't go above 10, but it would continue, it's trending upwards. And then the intervention, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, is driving it down. Let's see if that trend is significant in the intervention phase. And indeed it is. So we have significant here and significant here. Now, if I was going to put this in a paper, I would neaten this up a bit. But this, now if we had low or not significant here in both phases and a trend in either of these phases, we would be using the CDC, but that's not the case here. So we're going to stick to the CDC, and because we want the behavior to decrease, we are going to want to use the command CDC below. So we're going to say conservative dual criteria, and in our case it's CDC below. Now I'm not going to do one for above because that doesn't make any sense in this case. And then it's what you've come to expect: our behavior variable, our phase variable, and then the two phases that you want to compare. And I'm going to run this, and here we have, now in order to have significance, we're going to look at the number of data points in a desired zone, and the desired zone is below both the regression line and the mean line here. And we see actually in the baseline we did have one data point that would have been considered successful. And here the true condition is, so you have to have true, and true is the number of data points that are successful in the intervention. Now you could have cases where you have no data points that are successful in the intervention, and then you may not even have in this output here a true condition. But we do have 6 data points that are considered successes in the intervention, and we can probably identify them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the 6. But in order to have statistical significance, we needed 8. So while it looks like the intervention is going in the right direction, there are not statistically significant differences at this time in between the intervention and baseline data. We'll want to know more because, again, you need a decent amount of data to have significance. So in this case, the NAP below would be an appropriate measure of an appropriate effect size because the data are both trending and autocorrelated. So I'm going to put, and we don't have 20 data points, so we can't use the IRD. We can't use the PAND, and the NAP seems to probably, in general, be a better choice. So I haven't done this yet. We'll take a look. And we're just going to run that. We're not going to save it, so I'm just going to hit no here. And here is just a simple line graph, and we do see that it's trending up. In fact, it's really quite high at this point. The NAP below, the estimated NAP below, is 0.76, which shows moderate effectiveness. So if I was going to make a practice decision about this client, I would continue that intervention a little bit longer. It would be nice. This client's anxiety is dropping precipitously. It would be good to have it. The last. These are 3s, I believe. 1, 2, 3. So his anxiety is a 3 or less in the last 4 sessions, it'd be good to keep it going a little bit longer and see if we can't achieve significance. And but my guess is Anthony is seeing, observing a level of anxiety that's reduced since the beginning of your work with him. Um, and that's all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed this lesson.